Hello, welcome to Young Martin's Reels, and I am in my new workshop and ready to get started. Today's reel is going to be this Bronson Wasp X12W. It's made by Bronson, and this is the reel we're actually going to do. However, I'm going to give you a little bit of a preview before we get started on that. Also this week we are going to do this Bronson Pilot 925. It's not coming today, but it is coming. And we are also going to do this Bronson Mustang 803 reel. And this one I've already been into, taking it apart and cleaned it up. It was not functional, and it is now functional again. And but we're going to walk you through how to do this one. But before we get to that, I wanted to show you a little bit about what's also coming. And that's going to be this Zebco 909. And I had done an 802 earlier this day before yesterday because I didn't think I had done an 802. And I went to do the editing for it, and I already had the file in there and found that I had done one back in October of last year, and I had forgotten that I had done it. So we're going to be doing this Zebco 909. We are going to also do this Mitchell 307, which is the right-handed version of the 306. So we're going to do one of these. And this one is tight, but we picked it up at the flea market yesterday. And we'll get it up and running again. And yeah, notice how slow the bail is to come back. So we're going to work on that. And we'll go through the whole thing. It kind of ticks and makes some knocking noise. So we'll clean that up inside, get it going again. But the real thing that I picked up yesterday at the flea market, and this is absolutely my very first, is this Triton, just Shimano Triton LTD20 lever drag reel. I picked this beast up at the flea market yesterday, and I'm going to be doing a video on this one. It's probably going to be 2 weeks out, and once I get it done, it's going up for sale on eBay because it's more expensive. I don't have a use for this reel, and it's much more expensive than I need to keep sitting in a shelf over here. So it's going to be going back up for sale, heading out to eBay. Unless somebody contacts me and lets me know that they're interested in it before it goes on eBay. But this is a sweet reel. Big beast of a reel. I've never done a lever drag before, so this will be a first on that one. And kind of loud when you put the clicker on. Oh yeah, it's sweet though. It still turns freely. Take the clicker back off, and yeah, it's a nice reel. It's been sitting around a while. I paid a lot more than I usually pay for a reel for this one, and we'll get it back up and going again and get it out there. So let's get on to this Bronson Wasp X12W and see what it takes to get this up and running. And I don't think it's going to take that much, although I do want to clean the rust and stuff off. It's got some little traces of rust here and there, especially on this handle over here. I need to get that off. And first thing we're going to do is before we take the handle off, I've got a really bad habit of taking handles off when it's not time to take the handle off. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by taking the cover off. Now, usually you will think that a cover comes off of a reel in a clockwise direction. In this case, it does not. It comes off in a counterclockwise, what you normally see. This one locks in the counterclockwise and comes off in the clockwise. And if you can see, somebody took a pair of pliers or a screwdriver or something and tried to pry this thing open at one time, and because they were going the wrong direction with it. Okay, so we're going to take the cover off. Let's take a look inside here. There we go. We've got a knob that comes off. I thought this was a drag knob, but it is not a drag knob. Okay, and we've got a rotor that comes off. Well, so far it's all pretty basic. And well, that is a drag knob. This tightens the rotor down here, right there, against this drag washer. That's what slips. That's your slip for your drag. So however tight you tighten that, that adjusts this drag. Okay, and I think we can probably get this stuck drag washer off. been on there a long time, it looks like. And drag washers work much better when they're not stuck to their metal components. There we go. Drag washers off. All right, now this cap, oh, okay, we got a large washer that comes off. And we've got this cap right here is going to fit on. And let's see here. Interesting, because I do believe, no, that's the way it's supposed to be. All right, okay. That takes us down to that point. Now we can come back and take our handle off. Now, my new setup has taken me a little bit of getting used to because I don't know where I have put everything yet. I laid it out in an organized fashion that I felt I'd be able to find everything, but it's being a little more difficult than I thought it would be. Okay, we're down to this point. Now, you're looking at this saying, okay, well, now where does it come apart? There's no more screws anywhere. There's nothing. Okay, what we're going to have to do now is drive this pin out right here. Okay, and I believe that we can probably push that out like so. Just like that. Okay, out comes the pin, and with the pin coming out, the button comes off. Once the button is off, we can now take the axle shaft out. And yeah, we got some old dried caked up grease in there. And I don't wonder if it'll come off the front. Yes, it does. You can pull it all the way off the front. So we're going to take this all the way down to clean it up. Let me blow this up a little bit. Okay. You can take look at how crusty that grease is. It does not want to come off of there. Okay. So we're going to scrub up that grease, get it off of there. Then when the spring comes off of here, all of this cleans up. Now, what I found when I took apart this Bobcat was I made a mistake taking it out. And I got a feeling these two reels are going to be almost identical. When I see how this is shaped here? We've got the small hump at the top. We've got the large hump at the bottom. Well, this is going to slide out of here. And when it does, we've got to make sure that we put that anti-reverse back in that same exact position, or this anti-reverse will not work right, and it jams up the main gear. Okay, so we can slide this all the way down and slide it out like so. And now we've got this spring, which is a little bit sprung. It's been in there a while. We're going to stretch it out just a little bit. Give it a little bit there. And now we've got, this is your anti-reverse, and see how it works here? Okay, as the wheel is turning this way, it allows it to go. But when you try to go back the other way, that pin or that piece catches on that keyway. See there? See that keyway? It catches on that. Well, if you don't get this in exactly the right position when you put it back in to this case, it will not work. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to scrub all this up real quick, and we're going to reassemble it. This piece comes off here. Reassemble it with some new grease and get it back in there working the way it should. Okay, I'll be back in a second. All the parts are clean now, and we're ready to get back to assembly. And we'll take our main gear. We're not going to put any grease on this side of it just yet. We're going to leave that. We're going to put, just a dab of grease on the back side, like so, because our anti-reverse has got to ride back here. And we're going to put just a little bit of grease on it. Sorry about the nasty looking Band-Aid. I probably ought to go put a new one on it. Cut it open this weekend, taking out the trash. All right, we're going to take this side, and if we look at it like this is the side of it that we're going to lubricate. Okay, like so, and it doesn't take much. We'll just put a little bit on there. We're going to flip it over, like so, and you can tell which way it goes. It goes on this way, and you can tell that because see this tooth right here? See that tooth? Well, that tooth has to be able to fit right down into one of those slots. Okay, If it's rotating one way, it'll slide past it. If it's not, it'll catch it and come back. Okay, so we're going to put that in like this, and we're going to set the spring in on top of it, like that. Okay, with all that in place, it's going to sit directly inside the case like so, and this corner right here is going to go down into this corner over here. Okay, so that we end up with just what I showed you earlier. Oh, by the way, let's go ahead and put a bit of oil on the shaft right here, so that as it goes up inside the case, and let's see here, we're going to want that to go up into the hole up here. Can you see it? Yeah, up into that hole, and then slide up in there. And now, remember I showed you earlier that the small hump, let's get it around, goes to the top. The larger hump goes there, and you've got to get this adjusted so that it all drops in. And it doesn't want to fit. There we go. Like, oh, I had it. There we go. Goes in like that. Okay? And with that like that, you should be able to grab hold of it here, and it should rotate this way, but it's not going to rotate backwards the other way. It's going to lock in. Okay? We're going to put that in position, and we're going to take the handle and put it on it right now. And that will hold that in place while we put the axle shaft back in. Okay, so set the screw in. Snug that up. We're going to tighten it more later. Now, what you should see, once you've got it this way, is that it will easily rotate this way, but it will not rotate backwards. See how this piece starts to spin backwards and then locks? That's what you should see. Okay, now we'll set that over to the side, and we're going to reassemble our axle shaft. And it's going to start off with this spring, and I think this spring may be just a little bit sprung also, so I'm going to pull it out just a hair. Sit it on, slide it back there like so, and let's go ahead and add a little grease to our axle shaft here, back here where it's going to slide. Okay, but it also has to spin in the cavity, so we're going to want to oil this side of it over here. Okay, so we'll set this in place, put our pinion gear back on, and rotate this around. There's a pin inside here. See the keyway inside there? Well, that keyway has to go into this slot right here, like so. Okay, then this can slide like this. Okay, with that done, we're going to come back. We're going to add oil to the axle shaft. And we're going to slide that axle shaft down inside like so. Push in a little bit and then rotate the main gear until the pinion engages, and it does. Okay, now we're going to come back and start putting some grease on the main gear. Now as you do this, it's going to grease the pinion gear. So you don't need to put a separate amount of grease on the pinion gear itself. Just greasing the main gear like this is going to grease that pinion gear. Okay? With that done, we can come back, take our nice clean button, put the bottom in first, and then rotate it around till the hole lines up. And now we're going to put in this axle shaft, or this pin. Okay, this pin has to go through this hole here. Tell you what, let's do. Let's go ahead and put a little bit of grease on that pin. Not so that it will slide out, but so that it will slide in, and that it will continue to operate without binding. Okay, so slide it in. Line it up on the other side. If you don't have it lined up, it don't want to go in. There we go. Push it all the way in, like so. Now our button is in. It doesn't pop back out. There we go. Shaft is in. All right. Now we have, and stand by. Okay, now we've got this piece, and it's got to go in, and it's going to go in. See this keyway here on the axle shaft? It has a pin or a key on this piece, so there's only one way it can go, and that's down just like that. Okay, now before we put that on there, let's go ahead and add just a dab of grease, not much, just a little bit, like so, and line that up on the shaft and slide it down. Next is going to go on this piece, and it is also keyed. Slide it down like so. And I'm sorry to say that the plating on these Bronsons aren't really all that good. So there's been quite a bit of rust intrusion on these, but it's going to work just fine. Okay, we're going to slip this piece on, and it does not have a keyway. Oh, hang on. For that one goes this one, and it does have a keyway as well. Slide it on like so. Then goes your drag washer right here, and let's go ahead and put a dab of grease on there where the drag washer fits, and let's just buff that in a little bit. We don't want much grease there. We don't want it so that it just slides away, but we also want this drag washer to have a little bit of lubrication. All right, slide that on. We're going to do the same thing again on the other side of it. That should be plenty of grease. Let's buff that in a little bit, like so. Throw that cotton swab away, put this in place, and now we're going to come back. This is our drag knob. This was what adjusts the tension of your drag, okay, on that drag knob, okay. As you tighten it, it gets tighter and tighter, okay. Let's loosen it back up just a little bit, okay, and probably would not hurt to put just a little bit of grease on the threads just so that can't get jammed on. Okay. All right. Now we're going to take the line, push it out, it locks in place. We're going to feed the line through the hole, slip that down, line it up so that our numbers is going to fall up top. So it's going to be just a little bit over to this side, put the cap on, and then rotate it counterclockwise, and there you have it. Okay, let's see what we've got. Let's see if we have a functional reel. So far we do not. Okay, what's going on? It did not stay. And okay, I got something wrong here because it's, there it is. Was I not getting it out enough? In that position right there, it doesn't lock. All right, I was a little unhappy with the performance of this, so I went back into it and looked at it again. And now I've got it to where it stays out every single time. And I'll tell you what the problem was. I got a little glue I got to clean off right there from this old sales sticker. Okay, let's open this up. And if you look here, this is the cap and the drag washer. Let's see. There we go. The drag washer's up in here. And actually, I think that might be in the wrong location. I really think that belongs like that. For that drag washer, but maybe not. Maybe it, yeah. We'll leave it like it was. It was on top of here. So we're gonna leave it that way. Yeah, that's the way it came out. That's the way it's gonna work. All right, if you look at this piece here, this piece is what causes it to catch when you open and close it. And this piece here wasn't bent in all the way far enough. And so all I did was I just took and slightly bent it in just a little bit, like so. So that when I put it into place, you gotta be careful because too much bending is gonna snap this off right here. Okay, so put this on, and you see it's kind of spring loaded. It's gonna try to pop back up like it doesn't want to fit in that position. That's because you're fighting against that spring that you just bent. Okay, then goes this cap, and it's got the keyway on it. And again, it's also going to fight you. There we go. Then you've got the flat metal cap, the washer, and the regular cap, and your drag adjust. Okay, slide this back on. Now, if you look, it's going to work every single time. It's going to stay out. That clicker is now functional all the way around every time. No matter what you do, no matter where you put it, it's going to work every time. So I wanted you to know that that's the way it should be. All right. Now, line comes out. Hit it. Okay, now let's adjust the drag back a little bit. Okay. Wind it. Okay. Let's tighten the drag just a little bit. Okay, drag works. It's not the most refined drag in the world, but it does work. I wanted to make sure that this works before I strip all the line off of it. But there you have the, there you have the Bronson Wasp X12W. And I have a feeling these other two are basically going to be the same reel, just different size, different configurations, or slightly different sizes. This one actually is designed to be cocked up a little bit. It looks like. Let's see how it. No, it doesn't really cock up because it's where it's. So it just gives you a little more lift. The Bobcat basically is just a bigger version, it appears, of the same reel. And anyway, we'll be doing that one. And that way, anybody who has one of these doesn't have to go look at a different model to find out how theirs works. They'll be able to see. Okay. Let's loosen that drag just a hair. Okay. There you have it. I hope you liked what you saw here on this video. If you did, please hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. Tell me what it is you didn't like about my video. For now, that's Rick Stivers with Young Martin's Reels, signing out.